So, Honor is constantly attacking Samsung. Let's talk about it. So, obviously, the Z Fold 7 just came out. Shout out to Alvin, as always, on Twitter for posting this little snippet. But it is still hilarious. So, if you don't know the beef, or I guess not the beef, but if you don't know the whole backstory with Honor, every time Samsung comes out with a phone, right, and they try to make the thinnest phone possible, Honor comes out with a thinner phone, right? So they always have that back and forth where it's like Samsung's like, we have the thinnest phone in the market, and then Honor's like, yeah, no, you don't. Even with the Z Fold 7, before the Z Fold 7 even released, Honor came out with the thinnest phone. Like, and again, use quotations on thinnest phone. The Z Fold 7 is 8.9 millimeters thick. When closed, it's 8.9 millimeters. The Honor Magic V5 is 8.8. Okay? So, 8.8 versus 8.9. So, it's by 0.01 of a millimeter. That's the difference. Okay? So, it's like, is it a difference? Yes. So they posted this and they're showing how every single year Honor is constantly just making the thinner device. And no matter how much Samsung likes to brag, likes to say, hey, we are creating very thin devices, Honor has always found a way to beat them. Which again, this is not the first time they have made an advertisement going at Samsung. And this is not the last time, right? So even though the Z Fold 7 is 8.9 millimeters thick, well, the Honor Magic V5 is 8.8. And again, they released it right before Samsung released their Z Fold 7. Because they knew Samsung was going to go crazy and say, we have the thinnest phone possible. We broke records. We absolutely blew this out of the park. And Honor goes, you guys do not have the thinnest phone possible because we're going to beat you. We are going to one-up you on that. And release a 0.01 millimeter thinner cell phone. I think really what they should be talking about is the camera bump. Because Honor's camera bump, while it is massive, it is not as massive as the Z Fold 7. I mean, you could see the 1A, 1B here. But, again, listen. As said in previous videos, is this really that important to have this thin of a cell phone? Probably not. Okay, this is just one of those things where I feel like the Z Fold series especially, Z Fold and Z Flip, we're now at a point where both of these cell phones are maxed out. There's not much more you can really add to the Z Fold devices to make them insanely better. Yes, you can make the candy bar cell phone on the outside. Yes, you can add a bigger battery, right? There's options like that you can go about doing. But there's not too much more. And the same thing with the Z Flip series. So now, because of that, it's all about making the thinnest phone possible. Now, of course, the Z Fold series, you remove the ability to use an S Pen, which is something that ticks off a lot of people. And also, the battery is exactly the same as the Z Fold 6. So, again, you know, it's like, instead of adding all these other features, now they're like, guys, guess what? We're making a bigger display, a bigger outside and inside display. Awesome. But we're going to remove the S Pen support because we're removing the digitizer layer to make it thinner. And we're also going to give you the same battery. Which I think majority of people would be like, just make it thicker and give us those two things. But this is the new thing. It's like, you know, phones at one point were like, hey, who can make the biggest cell phone? Who can make the smallest cell phone? Now it's who can make the thinnest cell phone. So, again, like I said, this is what happens when you have technology to a point where there's not much more you can upgrade and max out. The Z Flip series the same way. You eventually have to just say, okay, well, what else can we do to make this different, right? Quote unquote different. Well, we can make it thinner. And once this whole thin thing goes away and eventually you get to a point where you can't make it any thinner, I don't know what the next thing is, but they're going to figure out another thing to compete with. So, we'll see. We'll see at this point. But Samsung, shout out to them. Honor, shout out to them. Peace out.